Have you ever wanted to build a merch store in Airtable or show 3D graphics in Airtable? That's exactly what we're going to be walking through here today. Christina on our team, she's a senior developer. She's built a nice little demo here for us of a merch store in Airtable using custom interfaces. So Christina, if you want to do a short intro, then we can jump in.
Yeah, so I'm an Airtable developer with Optimize, but prior to getting into Airtable, I was in apparel development. So I thought it'd be fun for us to make a optimized merch store in Airtable using Airtable's new custom extensions features. I built this in tandem with Claude and actually with the new Claude Design. So I started in Claude Design first, and I kind of came up with the look for how, I wanted the store to kind of function and kind of the vibe that we wanted it to have. So I started there, and then I went back into Claude Code and kind of worked out the rest of it. And then I actually fired up my old pattern making software and threw in a couple of 3D renders here of some shirts and some accessories for the hopefully future optimized merch store. So this is all built in Airtable. I've got it as the single page here right now. So that's why you're not seeing the sidebar. So there's still nothing like special about that. I just didn't put any additional pages in here yet. Other than the files that I created here, I didn't create any part of this app. So Claude, as I was working through the details of like, okay, what was this app going to do? Like, what did I want it to look like? Claude also came up with the schema for me. And then via the MCP, it went in here and it actually built out all of these tables for me and all of the like sample data values that are in here. And then I just went and uploaded in all of the files in here that I created for the imagery. So it's pretty fully functional. So if you click around, it'll filter by what type of product is it. And then if you actually click into one of those products here, you can see it looks like a real merch store. And we've got like the sizing picked here and the cart and the quantity. And then we actually built in like the 3D product viewer here. So I uploaded some 3D files that I made. And then we can actually click and pan and like look at the entire product that's loaded here. And then we can even toggle between the 3D viewer and the product imagery that's here. So it looks pretty real, especially without like the standard Chrome with the Airtable panel on the side. We can even click through and look at some of the different colors of the shirts here. So
that's pretty awesome. So you're saying you started like pretty much interface first, so like what's like the user experience first, and then worked back to the database? Or would that work back
which is really different. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I think that's like a new way of building. I've seen a little bit of a trend with that recently.
Yeah.
And so you were able to do all of everything here, like this whole custom interface, the data, other than like the 3D files, it sounds like all just through Claude Code.
Yeah, and I obviously validated it before I had it like build anything. Like once it came up with again the look of what it was going to be, it even suggested it's like, well, you should probably have a products table. You should probably have like a cart table if you're going to be able to add stuff to cart. Like you should probably have this. So I kind of went through it all with Claude as it was making the suggestions of like, yep, we're going to have that. We're going to have that. And then, I brought it, and actually I did all of that even in Claude Design. And then Claude Design was able to give me a handoff file. So it gave me a handoff file with like, okay, this is what it's going to look like some of the imagery of like how to lay out the page. And then even like the schema, like it packaged everything together really nicely because I told it, I was like, I'm going to go back to Claude Code and I'm going to make an Airtable extension. And so it gave me this file to download. And then I went back into Claude Code. I uploaded the file that Claude Design gave me, and then it read that whole file. And then I already have a skill set up in Claude Code to work on custom Airtable extensions. So once it had like the file with everything that I would need to actually build this one, then I called my skill and I was like, we're going to start working on an Airtable extension. And then it was like, okay, now I know I have everything I need. And it did it all like pretty much in one shot. I mean, I made some edits afterwards from how it
Wow,
like brought it in from Claude Design, but it got it pretty close on the first try. It was kind of amazing.
that's awesome. Can you show us maybe a little bit of the behind the scenes on how you did some of this with Claude?
Yeah, so let me pull up actually file for this. So this is what the like sort of demo looked like in Claude Design originally. So I kind of like pulled an inspo image from the web and I was like, okay, I'm gonna build a merch store. I kind of want it to look like this. And then it kind of like asked me some questions like, oh, okay, do you want it to have this thing? Do you want it to have that thing? And like I walked through it with it. I uploaded our logo files. And then it got pretty close like first shot. It does a good job of asking you questions on like what is the vibe that you're going for, like who is the audience here, like what do you actually want it to physically be able to do. So even without any assets loaded in, like it came up with this. And then it even, because I was like, I'm going to put 3D files in here, it showed me what it would look like with just like these little demo ones that it created itself, which was pretty funny.
So
But it
is,
made like a, mhm,
is that
go
wait,
ahead.
what we're looking at here, is this also using the Airtable skill? So like already knows like this is how it's going to look in Airtable, or is this like something that just Claude Design is coming up with?
Claude
You
just
know,
designed this. Claude just designed this. But it's funny because I did specify in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to be building an Airtable
mhm.
extension. So it gave one of the questions it asked was like, do you want to see it in the Airtable Chrome? And I was like, well, I kind of want the option. So it gives you this like nice little tweaks like toggle at the top. So if you, there are big things you want to change, like, oh, I want to see if like the accent color was different, like how would it look? And then like the card layout, like if you want to see it for carousel or grid.
Mhm.
But then the really cool thing that it did was it actually like gave me a toggle for the Airtable Chrome. So if I toggle that on, it like made it like, oh, here's what it would look like
Oh
if you
wow,
had like the Airtable like menu on the side, and then it even shows you like the fake interface data automations forms at the top, so it knows what Airtable looks like
interesting.
obviously without even me invoking that skill, that it shows like all of the connections that it needs to make.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So yeah, I walked through that. I got into some of the like the weeds on like, okay, what kind of file do I need to have for a 3D file that's going to make it display properly, and got through all that with it. And then I was like, okay, it's time to take it back to Claude specifically so I can like actually start building it. And that's when it gave me this handoff file with all of the details. And then, yeah, and then I brought it actually into Claude Code. And then this is a little bit more of what the back end looks like. So obviously super simple, just collections, products, colorways, orders. We didn't get into like actually building the functionality for somebody to place an order, but it's there. So all I would have to do would be to like wire up some
Mhm.
of the behavior of like actually clicking on a size, okay, adding a quantity, and then adding to cart. And then we'd obviously have to like make a cart and build out all the schema for that. But it's there. So it could really easily be added and we'd have like a real merch store.
That's really cool. That's really cool. It reminds me of like when I was first getting into building things in Airtable, like application development. I often use like this analogy that you don't really think of a database behind an app on your phone like Facebook, but like Facebook has a schema behind it. Like there's
Yeah.
users, there's comments, there's likes, there's posts, there's groups, pages. Like there's all these things that are, I'm sure somewhere there's a schema of like what
Yeah.
are all like the objects essentially on the back end of Facebook, but you may never think of them because it just looks beautiful, like this kind of thing where you have a cart, you have products, you have product variants. So this is really cool.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I had that same thought when I was first like learning Airtable, and I remember reading like the Airtable support article that like walks you through like schema and walks you through database architecture, and it was like light bulb moment, like, oh, this is how everything
Yeah.
is built. Like this is how everything works. Now I understand it by like reading this one Airtable support article.
Yeah. That's awesome. So if you liked what you saw here, we're going to continue in another video where we're going to be showing you how to set up one of these interfaces. We're also going to be continuing with the idea of like retail product development. So if you're into retail product development, you want to see what some custom interfaces specifically for creating line sheets, I believe. You want to see what that looks like? Click the video here in the end screen and it'll take you right there.